Welcome to the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu.
Glad to be here.
Today we are diving deep into playing to win, how strategy really works.
Oh, yeah, classic.
It's the 1 Hour Guide based on the book by A.G. Lafley and Roger L.
Two brilliant minds.
Yeah, and this guide, it really tries to boil down that strategic framework that helped P&G, Procter Gamble,
Right.
achieve all that crazy success.
Success, yeah.
So for the learner out there,
Mm-hmm.
Someone who really wants to get to the heart of it.
Get to the essence of it.
Yeah, understand the core principles quickly but thoroughly.
Absolutely.
This deep dive, I think it's going to give you those actionable insights that you need
Mm-hmm.
to start making strategic decisions that actually lead to you winning.
Winning, that's the key.
No matter what field you're in.
Doesn't matter.
No, it does not.
Any industry.
Yeah.
What I love about Lafley and Martin's approach, and what's so effectively captured in this 1 hour guide, is how practical it is.
Mm-hmm.
These are not just like academics sitting in some ivory tower.
Right.
These guys were in the trenches at P&G.
Yeah.
They saw this transformation happen firsthand.
Yeah.
They were leading it.
They were part of it, yeah.
They oversaw just an incredible period of value creation for the company and the framework they present.
Yeah.
It really offers a surprisingly straightforward way
Right.
to think about something that, let's be honest, can often feel super complex.
Strategy can be.
It can
be very
daunting.
intimidating.
Right.
So absolutely. And at its heart,
Yeah.
this framework and, the 1 Hour Guide really does a great job of distilling this.
Mm.
It boils down to one fundamental principle.
Yeah.
Strategy is not just about vision,
Right.
It's not just about having a perfect plan.
It's more than that.
It's about making these very specific, and they're very interconnected choices
Right.
that will position you.
Position you for success.
To win sustainably.
Sustainably, that's important.
That is important, yeah. So in a way, it's about answering five key questions.
That's it.
And these questions...
That's it, the framework.
Yeah, the framework, yeah. And this is like the backbone,
The spine.
the spine of this entire strategic approach.
Totally agree.
So let's jump into that first.
Let's do it.
Crucial takeaway.
Okay.
This idea that strategy is at its core about choice.
Yeah.
It's making choices.
It's about making choices. And I think the guide really drives home this point that strategy is not passive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about sitting back, reacting to whatever happens, or just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It demands action.
It does.
It demands that you make decisions and that you choose a path.
Yes.
And maybe even more importantly, and I think this is where a lot of companies get tripped up.
Yeah.
It's about choosing what not to do.
What not to do. Yeah.
As much as what to do.
It's like that discipline to say no.
It is a
To
discipline.
something.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating how many misunderstandings there are around this word strategy.
Oh, totally.
You hear it all the time.
Yeah, you hear it thrown around.
Yeah.
It's a buzzword.
It is. And the guide really, I think, does a fantastic job of clearing up some of those common misconceptions.
It does, yeah.
So it's not just about,
Right.
some lofty mission statement,
Right. Your North Star aspirational.
Your purpose. Yeah, it's not just, a budget,
Right.
an operational plan. Those are the tactics. That's the execution layer. Yeah, and it's certainly not about, blindly following every trend in your industry.
Right.
Or copying what your competitors are doing.
Yeah, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's the right strategy for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And true strategy, as Lafley and Martin really articulate, it requires you to make those tough calls, those unique calls.
The calls that differentiate you.
Yeah. And those are often the ones that are the hardest to make.
They aren't.
Because...
They're the ones that require you to say no to some things.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's hard.
So what I find particularly useful
Yeah.
is this idea of the strategic choice cascade
Oh, yeah.
that they introduce in the book.
Yeah.
And in the guide.
It's a great framework.
It is, because it's a logical sequence of 5 questions.
That's it.
That each one kind of builds on the last.
Yeah.
And,
What is your winning aspiration?
Yeah.
Where will you play?
Huh.
How will you win?
Mm-hmm.
What capabilities do you need?
Yes.
And what management systems have to be in place?
To support all of that?
All of it. Yeah.
So it gives you this structured
yeah.
way to approach strategic thinking.
Yeah. It ensures that everything is connected.
Yeah.
All the pieces fit together.
All the pieces fit together. And this is where we, we can bring in the example of Olay.
Oh, a great example.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
Olay was a brand.
Everyone knows Olay.
That was really facing.
Kind of stagnating a little bit.
Yeah, like stagnation.
Yeah.
They were kind of, maybe even like a little bit of decline.
Losing relevance a little bit.
Losing relevance. Yeah, and P&G made this very deliberate choice.
They did.
To focus on women in their mid-30s.
Yeah, specifically that demographic.
Yeah, and to position Olay as this like...
Mastige. It's a great term.
Which I love because it's like that sweet spot.
It is mass market, but with a prestige element.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's in those channels that are accessible.
Right, accessible to the mass market.
It's not...
super niche.
Not super niche, you're not trying to...
Right, you're not in department stores only.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very specific positioning.
Very specific, and that's key.
Yeah, that's key, yeah.
So if you think about it through the lens of the strategic choice cascade, the where to play was women 35 plus.
In that masstige skincare category.
Yep.
And primarily through mass retail outlets.
Exactly.
Like drugstores, grocery stores, places like that. So they really nailed that down.
Yeah, and
then the how to win was all about elevating the product quality.
Yes.
And the brand perception. Making people see Olay differently.
Exactly.
And then, of course, that required P&G to build specific capabilities in product innovation and in marketing. Because they had to actually deliver on that promise of higher quality.
Right.
And they had to communicate that new brand positioning to the target customer.
And their management systems had to prioritize that new direction.
Yeah. Everything had to be aligned.
Yeah. So it wasn't like this...
It wasn't a random approach.
No, it was very focused.
Very focused. Yeah. It was a series of deliberate choices all linked together.
And the results, speak for themselves.
They do.
Olay is a huge success.
Huge success.
Yeah. Moving on to our second key insight from the 1 Hour Guide.
Yeah.
By Anil Nathu.
Always got to plug it.
It's about defining what it really means to win.
It is.
And it's not just about participating.
No, it's not about just showing up.
It is not.
It's about achieving something significant.
Yeah.
It's about...
So the guide really stresses that the ultimate aim of strategy is to achieve that sustainable competitive advantage.
Right. It can't be fleeting.
It can't be a fluke.
It has to be something that you can maintain over time.
Yes. It's about creating
superior value.
Superior value for your customer.
Yeah, and that leads to superior returns for your organization.
And that leads to the superior returns,
Yeah, if you're creating more value for your customers, they're willing to pay more.
Yeah.
And that means more profits for you.
It's about aiming to lead, not to follow.
Exactly. You don't want to be a Me Too company.
No, you don't.
You want to be the company that's setting the pace.
Setting the trends.
The one that others are chasing.
And that begins with a clearly defined winning aspiration.
It does. This isn't just about hitting some financial targets.
Yeah.
Although, obviously, those are important indicators.
They are important.
Yeah, it's more about articulating...
A broader vision.
Yeah, like a broader vision of success.
Yeah.
And this is often centered around the impact.
The impact you want to have.
You want to have...
On the world.
Yeah, so...
On your customers, on your industry.
P&G's aspiration to improve the lives of the world's consumers.
That's a great example.
I think that's a great example.
It's not just about selling soap.
No,
it's about making people's lives better.
Exactly. And it's a much more...
It's more inspiring.
Inspiring.
It gives people something to really believe in.
Yes. And it raises the question.
Yeah.
Can you really win if you try to be everything to everyone?
That's the question.
Can you...
Can you be all things to all people? Yeah, and the guide really argues for the importance of focus.
It does.
I know.
You can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
You have to choose.
Yeah.
You have to focus.
If you're spreading yourself too thin...
You'll be mediocre at everything.
Yeah.
And you won't truly excel at anything.
Right. It's about finding that
niche, that specific customer segment, the unique value proposition.
And really concentrating your efforts there.
Exactly.
So winning is not just surviving.
Nope.
It's not mirroring your competitors.
It's not about being a follower.
Yeah.
It's about striving for that
leadership.
Leading position.
In your chosen arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this aspiration to win.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be, in the executive suite.
It can't just be the CEO.
It can't just be.
It's got to permeate the entire organization.
Yeah, the guide emphasizes
top to bottom
that a winning mindset has to permeate the entire organization from top to bottom. Yeah. Every team, every individual needs to understand what winning means for them.
Yeah.
And how they contribute to it.
And how they contribute. Yeah. And so
a great example of this is Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
Their winning aspiration.
To inspire and nurture the human spirit.
One person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time.
Yeah. It's not just a slogan.
No. It's not just a marketing gimmick.
It really shapes their strategy.
It does.
From store design to customer service to their expansion choices.
They're very deliberate about where they open stores.
They are.
About the experience they create in those stores.
Yeah.
It all ties back to that aspiration.
It provides this, very clear sense of what winning looks like for them.
Yeah. They know what they're aiming for.
They do so.
And that clarity is powerful.
It is.
It really helps them make decisions.
It guides them.
Yeah. Guides them, yeah.
Okay, so we have this clear picture of what winning looks like.
Yeah.
The next critical strategic question, according to the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu,
got to get that plug in,
is where to play.
Where to play, yeah.
And this is our third key takeaway.
This is where you decide where you're going to compete.
Yes.
What specific markets.
Yeah.
What geographies. What customer segments.
Yeah.
What product categories. And what distribution channels you're going to focus on.
It's about making those deliberate choices.
It is.
About those arenas in which you will compete.
Yeah. You can't be everywhere.
You cannot be everywhere.
You have to choose your battles.
You do.
And you have to choose them carefully.
And the guide makes it very clear that getting this wrong can have serious consequences.
It can.
If you try to compete
in
too many areas.
You spread yourself too thin.
You spread yourself too thin.
You become inefficient.
And ultimately
You're not irrelevant.
You become irrelevant.
To your core customers.
To your core customer, yeah.
You lose focus.
You lose focus.
Yeah.
So
the Olay example is really helpful here again.
Yeah.
Because they're where to play choice.
Very specific.
Incredibly specific.
Yes.
It was the 35-plus female demographic within the masstige skincare category, primarily through mass retail outlets.
Yeah.
So they didn't try to be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
They focused on a specific group of consumers with a specific set of needs.
Yes.
And they went after them in a very targeted way.
And the guide.
And that focus allowed them to really tailor their products, their branding, and their distribution efforts for maximum impact in that chosen space.
Yeah, and so the guide breaks these where-to-play decisions down into these different
dimensions.
Yeah. So you have geography, customer segments.
Customer segments, of course.
Product categories.
Yep.
Channels,
how you reach those customers.
Yeah, and the key is that these choices...
They have to be.
They need to be intentional.
Intentional, yes.
And they need to align with each other.
Aligned, crucial.
You can't decide to target a premium customer.
You can't target a luxury customer.
And then only sell through discount retailers.
And then try to sell through, dollar stores.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
The message is inconsistent.
Yeah.
And you'll confuse your customers.
Yeah. So.
And it's important to remember that where to play.
Yes.
It's not a static decision.
It's not.
Markets change.
They do.
Customer preferences evolve.
Yeah.
New technologies emerge.
New competitors,
yeah.
So the guide points out that where to play needs to be revisited.
Regularly,
yeah, and potentially adjusted.
As needed,
yeah.
But these shifts should be strategic.
They should be.
And deliberate.
Not reactive.
Not just knee-jerk reaction.
Right.
To whatever your competitors are doing.
Or some short-term pressure.
Yeah, you don't want to be constantly chasing the latest fad.
No, you don't.
You need to have a clear sense of where you want to play.
And stick to it.
And be willing to stick to it even when things get tough.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes the best move...
Saying no.
...is to say no.
Is the best move.
You have to be willing to walk away from opportunities that don't fit your strategy. Even if they seem tempting in the short term. Because otherwise, you risk diluting your focus.
Yes.
And ultimately undermining your success.
Okay, so we know
what
winning looks like.
We've got our winning aspiration.
Yeah.
We've defined what success means.
Yeah, we know where we're going to compete.
We've got our playing field.
We've got our playing field.
Yeah.
So our fourth
key takeaway. From the 1 Hour Guide.
From the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu.
Gotta love that plug.
Delves into how to win.
How to win.
And this is where we define our competitive advantage.
This is it.
So how to win?
How to win?
Is about articulating how you are going to create superior value for your target customers.
In those playing fields.
In your chosen playing field.
That we just talked about.
Yeah, in a way that is
difficult for your competitors to copy.
Yes, it needs to be difficult.
Otherwise, they'll just do the same thing.
They will.
And then you're back to square one. So you need to find a way to create value that is unique.
That is unique to you.
To you.
And
it's hard.
It is hard.
But it's essential.
Yeah. And the guide outlines 2 primary approaches.
Yeah. The 2 main ways to do this. Number 1,
to offer
differentiated value.
At a comparable cost.
At a comparable cost. So
basically you're saying
you're better.
My product or service is better than the competition.
Yes.
And it's worth paying a little bit more for.
Yeah.
Or you can offer comparable value at a lower cost.
Which is the cost leadership. Cost leadership. That's right.
Yeah.
So you're saying my product or service is just as good as the competition.
But it's cheaper.
So
those are your kind of 2 main options.
Those are the 2 big levers you can pull.
Yeah.
And the guide illustrates this really well with the example of P&G's Pampers.
Yeah.
So they were going head-to-head with Huggies.
Yeah. Big rivalry.
Big rivalry in the diaper market. And their how-to-win strategy really centered on superior product performance.
Yeah.
Better absorbency.
Better fit.
Better fit, basically a better diaper.
Yeah.
And they did this while maintaining a competitive price point.
Yes.
So they weren't necessarily the cheapest diaper on the market.
Right.
But they were the best diaper.
And they were saying
at a price that was comparable to the competition.
Comparable to the competition. And parents were willing to pay for that.
They were.
Because they saw the value.
Because they didn't want their babies to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, leaky diapers.
Nobody wants that.
No one wants that.
So what's really insightful here is that the guide talks about this trade-off.
Yes.
Between differentiation and cost leadership.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies, they try to be everything to everyone.
We try to do both.
They want to be the best and the cheapest.
Yeah.
And the guide suggests
it's very difficult.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It can be done.
It can be done.
But it's very challenging.
Yeah.
And it's often unsustainable.
Yeah.
And unless you have some truly unique capabilities.
The truly unique capabilities.
You have to be really, really good at something.
Yeah.
To be able to pull that off.
So it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
To blend elements of both.
No, you can find ways to do it.
IKEA, I think, is a great example.
IKEA is a great example.
Of a company that manages to offer stylish design, which is a form of differentiation.
It is. Yeah, they've got a very distinct aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
But the people who like it really like it.
They really like it.
And they're willing to put up with
the assembly.
Yeah. And the sometimes confusing instructions.
Yeah, and the meatballs.
Yeah. But they do it because they love the style.
Yeah, and they love the price.
And the price is great.
Yeah.
You can furnish an entire apartment for
not a lot of money. So how do they do it?
Yeah, they're very efficient in their operations.
Yeah.
They've got a very unique business model.
Yeah. Flat pack furniture.
Flat pack furniture that you assemble yourself.
Yeah.
So they save a lot of money on manufacturing and shipping.
And labor.
Yeah. But doing the labor. So they found a way to kind of combine those 2 elements of differentiation and cost leadership.
And the guide.
But it's not easy.
It's not easy.
And it requires a lot of careful planning and execution.
So the guide underscores the alignment.
The alignment is key.
Between how to win.
It's how to win, yeah.
And where to play.
Where to play, those 2 have to go hand in hand.
Yeah, so Pampers focus on product superiority.
Product superiority,
Makes sense.
Given their target customer.
Yeah.
And the retail channels they were operating in.
Right. And underpinning any how-to-win strategy are your capabilities.
Capabilities are crucial.
So you can't promise superior quality.
Right.
Or the lowest price.
If you can't deliver. Yeah. You can't just talk the talk.
You can't just talk the talk.
You have to walk the walk.
You gotta walk the walk.
I have to have the skills.
The resources,
to back it up.
To make it happen.
Yeah.
And P&G is a great example of this.
Yeah.
Because their deep R&D capabilities
were
crucial for Pampers' innovation-driven winning strategy.
They were invested.
They invested heavily in research and development.
Yeah.
And that allowed them to create
a better diaper.
A better diaper. Which brings us to our fifth
key takeaway.
Key takeaway.
Play to your strengths.
Play to your strengths, yeah. The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu.
Another plug.
Strongly emphasizes this need to align your strategic choices with your organization's capabilities.
Yeah. What are you good at?
Yeah, what are you good at?
What do you do better than anyone else?
So this is about identifying those unique skills.
The skills, the technologies.
The technologies.
The processes. Even the cultural strengths.
Yes.
That your company possesses.
And
leveraging them.
Yeah.
To execute your chosen strategy effectively.
It's about building on what you do best.
It's about doubling down on your strengths.
Yeah.
And not trying to be something you're not.
So capabilities are
more than just assets.
Yeah.
It's not just about what you have.
Right.
It's about what you do with what you have.
Oh, we do, yeah.
It's about how you use your assets.
It's those things that your company does exceptionally well.
Better than the competition.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
That's the key.
If you're just as good as everyone else,
you don't have a competitive advantage.
You're not going to win.
You're not going to win.
You have to be better at something.
And as the guide highlights, strategy and capabilities are
inseparable.
Inseparable.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other.
They're linked.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, your strategic aspirations have to be grounded.
Grounded in reality.
In your capabilities.
In what you can actually do.
Yeah. And your capabilities.
And your capabilities have to evolve.
Have to evolve.
As your strategy evolves.
So it's this constant...
It's a dance.
Back and forth.
Between what you want to achieve and what you're good at.
And the guide.
And P&G is a great example of this again.
Yes, it is.
They have this deep understanding of consumers.
Yeah.
They're amazing at brand building. They have a consistent track record of product innovation.
They do.
And they have these really sophisticated go-to-market capabilities.
Yeah.
All of these things work together.
They do.
To support their overall strategy in the consumer goods sector.
Yeah. And
it's not just about having like a collection of individual strengths.
It's not just a checklist.
It's not a checklist.
Yeah.
It's about how these strengths interact.
And
amplify each other.
So the guide discusses the power of capability reinforcement.
Yeah.
This is where different capabilities...
They work together.
They work together and they make each other stronger.
Yeah, they create a synergy.
A synergy.
Yeah.
So think about how P&G's deep consumer insights inform their product development.
You know what people want.
They know what people want.
Before people even know what they want.